Hello, hello! Absolutely nobody is here watching this, but I'm totally cool with that. Hi, I look like crap this evening, but it's kind of been a rough day, so we're rolling with it. I'm here again at this awesome hotel that they have, that the American Cancer Society has blessed us with. And we've had another day of cancer treatment stuff and cab adventures that did not go as planned yet again. Woo! But we survived. We survived. I feel like we should make I Will Survive be our theme song. Mom, what do you think of that? I Will Survive be our theme song. Yeah? Do you like it? Yeah, you're down? Mom's down. A little Donna Summer going on. I think Mom's just tired. And tired of things and just anxious for the weekend, which is tomorrow. Tomorrow. She has one more treatment this week, and then week 3 is done. But she found out that her treatments that she's currently doing is going to go into week 5, right? Week 5, and then maybe even into week 6, they said? And so she might even have 6 weeks of this. And then a little bit of the internal in week 6, which is not what originally we were told. So originally we were told week 5 would be combo. And so now it's an extra week of this. And then it'll be combo in week 6 instead of week 5. And then we'll go to internal stuff. And Mom's giving me all the hearts. Yay, I feel loved. And then we'll go from there. So not looking forward to that. She's tired and just kind of wants to be over it. So we thought we were about halfway or almost halfway done. But apparently we're not. So we thought that it was only going to be about 7 or 8 weeks of treatment for Mom. But apparently it's not going to be 7 or 8 weeks. Apparently it's going to be 8+ weeks maybe. I don't know. We're not even sure how long the treatment's going to go for. Because now they're saying instead of week 5 being the kind of switch off week between the 2 different treatments, it's going to be week 6. So it seems like they're going to be more aggressive with the treatment or something. I don't know. We're totally confused. I don't know if we're still doing 8 weeks or if we're doing more than 8 weeks. We're confused. But we're in week 3, and week 3 is almost over. And we're taking it day by day, week by week. So we're almost victorious. We have almost battled and won week 3. So yay. Ecstatic for that. How's everybody else's week going? I hope that everybody else is having a good week, a good day. Ours was a little rough, feeling a bit rough, feeling a bit knackered and just altogether icky and bad, and it's been a rough one. It's been rough on Mom with symptoms, and it's been rough on me. We had an awful cab ride experience. If anybody's curious about that, I will share. But I don't think anybody really is hopping on. So maybe if it picks up a little bit, I'll share some of the cab ride experiences. We'll see what happens. Hang on a second. Okay, here we go. I'm back. I was getting a text. I'm probably gonna get another text, and then I'll be like, hey, I'm doing my live right now. Can't text with you. But, we got some news before, I started this live feed. And so, that's why the texting is going on, because it was like, hey, where is this? What is going on? Because I found out where we're going to be staying, on my birthday and on my mom's birthday. So that's kind of cool. We know where we're going to be. Because we really haven't been knowing, like, week to week. We've been going on a kind of, like, 2-week basis of where we're going to be. And we haven't known how long treatment's going to be. We still kind of don't know how long treatment's going to be. Sorry, I stress sodaed because it's been that kind of day. But look at the polar bears. Aren't they cute? So I stress sodaed. It's been that kind of a day. Anyway, so on my birthday, we're moving to a new hotel, and we just found out where it's going to be. So my boyfriend's like, wait, what? I thought... Whoops. Sorry, guys. Are we back now? Sorry. I won't do that anymore. Actually, I'll do it one more time. Hang on. Okay, there we go. Hello. Anyway, back to this. Anyway, so yeah, so we've been going kind of like every 2 weeks. We found out like if the hospital was helping us out or whether the American Cancer Society was helping us out. And then kind of we're told last minute, hey, you're going to be staying at this hotel or you're going to be staying at that hotel. And kind of figuring out our schedule and if like we have to pay for a day or two or how that's going to go and what's going to happen and all that kind of thing. And so, yeah, so just before I hopped on, we found out that we're going to be staying at like a new hotel on my birthday and on my mom's birthday. So that's kind of nifty and cool. So I was just texting with my boyfriend to be like, you know, where is this? And is this a good thing or a bad thing? Because they, of course, only do a shuttle to the airport because why would you do a shuttle to the hospital? Because apparently their patrons only go there for vacation, not for hospital purposes, even though they have an affiliation with the American Cancer Society, which is just very weird. I don't know, I find it very weird that, like, cheaper hotels, the American Cancer Society doesn't seem to have an affiliation with, but they don't have shuttles to the hospital, but yet cheaper hotels they don't have an association with that do have shuttles to the hospital. I don't know, it's kind of weird to me, but we'll do what we have to do, and we are doing what we have to do, and we're making it work, and we feel very fortunate to be here at the hotel that we're in right now. It is beautiful, and we've been treated very well by the hotel staff, by the hospital staff. The hotel staff here have been so sweet, so kind to us. There was a man today that was very nice to us. The people in the hallways have been very nice to us, so it was very good to be here, and the suite itself has been very very nice and very cozy and just, you know, like a home away from home, which has been very, very nice. So that's been really, really cool. So, I mean, we feel very fortunate and very blessed. I'm not trying to do that. It's just kind of frustrating when it's like, you know, you need to get from place to place, and cab rides can be expensive when they total up and different things like that. So, yeah, the treatments have been getting harder and taking a toll, and side effects are starting to get worse, so that's a bummer. And we've been trying to soldier through, but it is not fun. And with the cab rides, that's difficult too, because it's difficult to get in and out of the cab, and when you have a cab driver like the cab driver we had today, it makes it a little bit worse because sometimes they don't want to move their stuff from the front seat. And that can be challenging, and sometimes they don't want to help with the wheelchair, and that can be a challenge. And the one guy apparently just wanted to go home and take a nap, so that was very interesting and bizarre and kind of weird. But you know, hey, you try to roll with it, roll with the punches and whatnot. So we've been trying to just take it day by day, and see what happens. A really cool kind of good thing though is that Mom has been thankfully having a lot of you know, her appetite hasn't really been there, so I've been trying to give her things that won't make her feel worse and will make her feel better. So we've been dealing a lot with soups that'll give her some nutrients in her body, and it'll make her feel like a little bit, you know, good. Some sandwiches, some crackers a little bit, things like that. We do orange juice sometimes in the morning before treatment, because she needs to have a full bladder before her treatments. So sometimes we'll do a nice big tall glass of that before we go. That seems to be really effective, so then that way she's getting some vitamins and nutrients and stuff before, and she has the full bladder, so that works out really good. And we found this little microwavable stew that has like meat and potatoes and carrots, and you know, it seems really like simple, but it's really like hearty, and it's a small amount, and it's something that, you know, you can warm up that isn't that hard on her stomach, but she's still getting a lot of really good hearty things that your body needs. So we try to give that at dinner time, because that seems to not upset her stomach too much. I mean, everything upsets her stomach, but I mean, it's not going to be a trigger really bad thing that she can't have. So we've been trying that. We've been trying Campbell soups. That's not a Campbell soup, but we've been trying like some of those kinds of things, and peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and that kind of thing. And then sometimes if she feels up to it, but she really hasn't very much. This week we've had like maybe like a little pudding cup as like a treat with dinner, but she really hasn't wanted it or felt up to it. But she's felt so sick this week that she hasn't really even wanted the pudding cup. I think she's had one, because we only got one, you know, set of pudding cups, and she's only had one this week. She really just hasn't felt up to it. And we have cookies, and she hasn't felt up to having any of those. So it's just been very difficult. And like, I would say, you know, do you want to have some extra orange juice? And she's just like, no, I prefer water. So she's been having a lot of water and hydrating and things like that, which is really good. And we're kind of really thankful for that. But it's just very difficult to get things in, and keep them in. And of course the nausea is just really intense, and the pain in the stomach and different things. So like I said, we're just trying to do foods that are, you know, not too abrasive on the stomach, that are hearty and will give some nutrients but won't be too rough. We made the mistake in week 1 of having a salad. Salad are big no-nos, so we did not make that same mistake again. fresh fruits and vegetables are usually things that, you know, people are like, yay, it'll help you lose weight, and they're great, and they're wonderful, and yeah, you should do it. But we've been told by our doctor not to do those things. So that's why we're doing the kind of like microwavable stew right now, because that has like the carrots and the potatoes and the meat. And that seems to be not too rough on the stomach and still has some nutrients and vitamins and things in it. And she can tolerate pretty well. We do the Campbell soups a little bit for lunch, or like I said, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They seem to be all right with her stomach so far, so we're kind of sticking to those. But I mean, everything eventually just is really hard on her stomach, so we're just sticking to those because those seem to be the things that she tolerates best at this moment. But I mean, everything is really difficult on her right now. Crackers, we have saltines, and like I said, we had the pudding cups, and she's had one this whole entire week, and we had cookies just in case like she wanted one or two as a snack, and she just has no desire for them and just can't do it. They just upset her stomach so much. She just can't really tolerate sweets. And we weren't really pushing sweets because, of course, cancer loves sugar, and we've been, you know, really cutting back on sweets in general, but we just thought, and the doctor had said it was okay if, you know, there was maybe like one or two small things as like a treat, especially since she's going through so much. And she just hasn't been, sorry for the glare on my glasses, she just hasn't been, hasn't wanted them. So her appetite's been a lot less this week, so we've just been trying to keep to those basic things. And she's also been a lot more fatigued and having a lot less energy in terms of getting in and out of the cabs and vehicles in general. So we've just been trying to, you know, give her a leg up if she needs and help her that way. And like I said, we had the setback, the night before into yesterday with her shoulder. But she said that it's starting to feel a little bit better, so that's a really good thing. Because we were really worried about that, because when she reached over, she hurt that shoulder, so that was a concern. And we're talking to her doctor about possibly getting some medication to help a little bit with her tummy situation, to see if we can maybe ease her discomfort a little bit, ease some of those digestive issues, to make them a little bit easy on her. Because, I mean, some of these symptoms are just symptoms that come with the treatment, and we know that, and it was something that was just going to be part of treatment. But there are medications that they can give her to lessen the severity. And so, you know, like I told her, it makes sense to just ask them what's available, what we can do, and kind of go from there. So we are working with her doctor to just see if there are some things that we can do that won't be terribly abrasive. She doesn't want to take a large amount of pills, and I totally get that, and I totally understand that. And we've kind of talked with the doctor and just said, you know, we don't want to end up taking a handful of pills that we don't need, that are, you know, ridiculous. We don't want to be a walking pharmacy, but, you know, if there is a way that we can feel better and have kind of some control here on certain symptoms, you know, what are our options? And is there anything over the counter, or, you know, anything that you can suggest to us in general that have helped other people that have gone through this? And I think the really great thing about where we are is that it's a hospital that is also a school. So they're constantly wanting to learn and grow and listen to patients, and they're always looking for new ways to treat people. And so it's not just, hey, here are a bunch of pharmaceuticals. They're looking for all different ways to treat patients. And so they will say, hey, you know, I could prescribe this, but there's this over-the-counter thing that works really well too, that's less, you know, abrasive, or less, less about pills, or there's this, you know, cream that works really well, or, you know what I mean? They're very open-minded to different things that might be able to help, that aren't necessarily just, you know, pushing pills on you, or really, really difficult, hard, you know, things that are going to make you loopy or anything like that. But if you need those kinds of things, they're open to giving you those too. So it's very based on your need and what's available. So we found a lot of communication with them and a lot of options with them, and they're very open to discuss things. Our doctor, that's the primary doctor on the case, because we have several residents that are running around like chickens with their heads cut off all the time. But the main doctor that we're dealing with, she's very competent, she's very intelligent, she's very on top of things, and she literally will drop everything to check in on her patients. Like, I don't know how the woman sleeps and has a personal life, because she is always in the know on what's going on with her patients. She's always up to date. She will make time for you. She will schedule us in to see us whenever we need. She's always on top of things. She insists on seeing mom at least once a week to check in, see how treatments are going. If we don't see her, she makes sure that her residents are up in the know on everything. She's had her residents running around like chickens with their heads cut off, making sure mom's every need is attended to. I've emailed several times about, you know, is this normal? I know that this is probably normal, but, you know, this is a new thing that's popped up. She's personally emailed back, or she's had a resident email back, and then I thought, okay, well, the resident dealt with me, so that's all that it's going to be. And before the end of the day, she's personally emailed me, reiterating what the resident said and adding extra information that really wasn't necessary for her to tell me, but she told me just so that I had that information and I knew it. So I'm really impressed with everybody here. They're really attentive and really there for us. So things are going really well. The only thing that we're kind of a little bit uneasy about at this moment is that we found out today that treatment might be longer than we thought it was going to be. According to the schedule, she's going to be having, because there are 2 types of radiation that we're going through. So right now she's doing the pelvic beam, which is they position her on the table and then the beam comes around and it's external. And that was supposed to be for 5 weeks. Or not 5 full weeks, but like 4 weeks solid, and then like 3 days on week 5. And then 2 days on week 5 was supposed to be the internal, because internal is only done on Tuesdays and Thursdays of the week. However, now we are being told that she is scheduled for 6 weeks of pelvic beam. So that's new. And that means that we will probably be having either 8 or 9 weeks of treatment total. We're not sure. So 8 or 9 as opposed to 7 or 8. No. We'll either have we were supposed to have 7 or 8, but we'll either have 9 or 10. There we go. Weeks of treatment. So that's quite a bit of a difference in treatment. So we're a little confused and wow, and she's not happy because she's already tired and we're in week 3. So the last treatment for week 3 happens tomorrow. And then we return to Dodgeville tomorrow afternoon. And then Sunday we come back to Madison. And then Monday we resume treatments until until Saturday, either Friday night or Saturday morning. And then, until Saturday morning. And then, and then, sorry, it's all so overwhelming. Monday through Friday are the treatments, but we kind of bookend the hotel when we can, because, but it's starting to get really expensive because the American Cancer Society is picking really expensive hotels to put us in, which is really draining our finances like crazy. But we try to do that so that she is less taxed with travel. And we're less taxed because poor Jared is trying to work while schlepping us around. But so we're trying to make it all work. But yeah, so we are, after this hotel, we have another week in this hotel. And then I just got an email confirmation that the next hotel that they're sending us to, like, God bless the American Cancer Society, but they are putting us up in really ritzy hotels. So on my birthday, which is a Monday, we're checking in to a Hilton. Which, when I got that email saying, like, you're checking in on your birthday to the Hilton, I was like, to the where? What? And then I, like, looked at where it was on the website, and I was like, and it was like, courtesy of the American Cancer Society for this amount of days for your treatment. I was like, okay. So we check in on my birthday, and we check out the day after Mom's birthday. However, we have to extend that because we have to check in the day before my birthday, and check in the day before my birthday, check out the day after her birthday. Because of the way that you check in, check out. He has to work on my birthday, so we have to check in on Sunday. And we have to check out on Saturday morning, so we have to stay the extra day because of his working. So we have to pay for 2 days at the Hilton. So that's going to be expensive. I have to look into all that. That's going to be... But we'll make it work. But still, wow. So then they're like, and we're going to hold your card because in case you incur fees while you're there, like room service and everything. And I'm just like, so they're going to put like a $150 fee on top of that. So that's going to be fun. My bank account is going to hurt like bad that week. So happy birthday to me. But is what we need to do. And so we're going to make it happen. And it's going to be what we need to do. And I feel very fortunate, and we are very fortunate to to the American Cancer Society that they are allowing us to have a place to stay during this time, because we need a place to stay during this time. And we are doing all of this to help Mom feel better. And that's what this is all about, is to help Mom feel better. And hopefully in the end, it will make her feel better. And the hospital staff are so amazing. They're so sweet to her. They're so good to her. They're so kind to her. And it's just a lot. It's taking a huge toll on all of us. It's taking a huge toll on my boyfriend, because he works all day and then he comes and he picks us up, and he's such a doll, and he carries the suitcases and he carries the bags of food that we bring, you know, because we bring the soup cans and the boxes of crackers and the juices and the water and the microwavable popcorn and stuff like that, and he schleps those around, and he carries them, and he is so sweet, and you know, and Mom is a trooper. She is going through all of this, and her body's going through all of this, and she pushes through, and she's amazing. She's a rock star through all of this. So it's been so rough, but everybody is really doing their best, and they're doing awesome. And we've gotten so much love and support from everybody. We've gotten so many emails and texts and tweets and comments on our posts, and so much love and support from everybody. Oh, we haven't put our lives on hold. We've been living our lives. Oh, no. No, you shouldn't give up, because we're all part of this, and we're all a team, and we're all doing, you know, our part to help you out, and it's totally worth it, because in the end, you'll be better. And we appreciate that, and we're so lucky and privileged to be here with you, and we wouldn't have it any other way. We totally wouldn't have it any other way, Mom. And we just feel so privileged that so many people have reached out to us and have been so kind. We got so many Christmas cards this year. There's a whole, like, there have been so many, like, I had taken a picture and I had posted it online of, like, look at all the Christmas cards, and then we got an influx of even more. I went back home for a couple of days last weekend, and there were, like, 5 more Christmas cards, and, like, there was a random birthday card from my company, actually, gave me a birthday card early. Because they sent it out like January 1st. I guess they send it out like, you know, the minute that it's your like birthday month or whatever. And so I had a birthday card from my company. And so like there are like birthday cards from my boyfriend up with our Christmas cards. There are Christmas cards. There are, there's so much love and support out there, and it's just like totally worth it. Exactly. We all want to just help you out and help you feel better, and that's our goal. That's our main objective, and that's what we're all here for, and that's what we strive for, and that's what we're working toward, and that's what means the world to us. And we wouldn't have it any other way. I'm sorry if I seem incredibly tired. I kind of am. I've been up since 7:30 this morning. Don't you just love the polar bears? I'm obsessed with polar bears, so Coca-Cola is like my favorite thing in the world right now. Yeah, but see, now it's your time to sit back and relax and let other people take care of you. It's your time to relax. And get to be, you know, spoiled a little bit because you've earned it. Because you always have taken care of everybody else, you know? So now it's your time. It's your time to shine, if you will. So there's no reason to feel guilty at all. The person who should feel guilty is that cab driver from today. Should I tell the story about that? So, we called for a cab, and I called like 2.5 hours, 3 hours early because I wanted to make sure that, you know, they had it in the system that, you know, we needed a cab. So it was all set. And so we're waiting and we're waiting. And we went down, you know, relatively early, but not too early because, you know, Mom was concerned that we would be waiting too early. And I was like, yeah, you know, you're right. Okay. So we went down early enough, but not too early. And we're sitting there and we're sitting there. And I didn't get a confirmation number or anything. So I'm texting Jared, and he's like, that's unlike them because he's really familiar with this cab company because he uses them all the time. And he's like, I would call because that's weird. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I call, and they're like, oh yeah, you're totally in the system, right? And they say my name, they say where I am, and they say where I'm gonna go. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. And they're like, yeah, we have like 4 people in your area, so somebody will be to you soon. They might be a little late though. And I'm thinking, well, if you're in my area, why would you be late? But okay. But I'm trying to like act cool and casual because Mom's already freaking out and I don't want her to freak out even more. So I'm not gonna voice my that's weird to her because that'll make it worse. So, we're waiting and it's like past the time that they were supposed to come. And I'm like, well, I ordered it for a half hour before we're supposed to be there. So we've got wiggle room, they've got wiggle room. It'll be cool. So then it's like 15 minutes till our appointment and I'm like starting to get a little freaked because I'm like, we're about 10 minutes away from the place. And I kind of need a little time to get her from the main door to where we need to go. And I kind of had a rough night last night. And my body might not make me that fast, you know? And there's like a lot of walking involved. So I might need a little time, you know? So he gets there. And it's an older gentleman, and I looked at him and I just thought, you are not going to lift this wheelchair and put it in the back of this car, are you? You're just not. So then he didn't really look like he wanted to move his stuff so she could sit in the front seat, but I kind of insisted that he had to. So he reluctantly like moved off his stuff, which was like a lot of just junk that he had sitting on the front seat. So he moved it, which took like 5 minutes right there because he had like old wrappers and stuff. Like the car smelled like awful. Like he had like old food and stuff in it. Like it was just nasty. So he moves all of his junk and Mom gets in and we get her squared away. And then he just stands there looking at me for like a good 10 seconds. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll put the wheelchair in. You just have to open the back. And he's like, oh, yeah. So he opens the back. I start lifting the chair, and then I realize that I'm holding my cell phone, and I can't hold my cell phone and do it. So I'm like, could you please hold this for me? And he goes, oh, sure, whatever you want, ma'am. And being called ma'am is just still highly insulting to me. Like, I know I'm over 30, but I really dislike it. Like, it makes me feel 80, and I just really don't like it. So that was really disturbing to me. So I was just kind of like not loving that. So then he puts 2 fingers on top of the wheelchair. And like, I don't know if he was just pretending to help me lift it with these 2 fingers. Like, somehow by putting 2 fingers on top of the wheelchair, he magically was helping it float into the back of the cab or something. But like, in his estimation, I guess that was helping it go in. But really, it was just me putting it into the cab. And he kept saying that he was so sorry, he was so sorry, he was so sorry. But it was like, dude, it's fine. Dude, I did it. Dude, it was fine. So then we finally get in the cab. And we're about ready to go. Now it's 10 minutes till our appointment. We're not going to make it on time. But that was fine with me because sometimes they're late, sometimes we're late. It all works out at doctor's offices. You know, I wasn't really that fussed about it. I knew that it would work out in the end. So there was no reason to freak out. So then he said that their system had been down, so he had no idea where we were going. So I told him where we were going. So he was like, okay. Well, he had no GPS. So he was going a way that I knew wasn't the way that we had gone previously, which meant that it was more expensive. It was like only $1 and some change more expensive, but it was still more expensive than it needed to be. And I knew that. So that was a little bit more irritating. And then he said that the card reader was down because the whole system was down. So that was a little frustrating because that meant I had to write everything out. So then he's trying to read my credit card, and it's like, dude, I could have filled the thing out for you if you couldn't read it. Why are you... And then he like had me read it over his shoulder rather than just reading it and like filling it out myself. Like, why aren't I just filling out the form if you can't read it yourself and you're having me read it anyway? Like, it was so weird. It was like he had me read it out anyway. It was the weirdest thing in the world. So then he parks too close to another car for us to actually get the wheelchair to Mom, knowing that she needed the wheelchair. Then he parked in a place where she was going to have to go up a step, knowing that she had difficulty with her knees and a step would be difficult for her. So Mom was like in pain, about to cry. He saw she was about to cry, and he's like, oh, I'll pull up further. So he does that, and then he looks at me, and I'm like, could you hold this? And I hand him my phone, and he goes, oh yeah. And then I'm like, can you open the back of your car? Because he was expecting me to open his car. I'm not touching the back of your dirty car. I don't know where the button is. What? No, you at least open your car. So then I get the wheelchair out, take it over to her. So then he's like, oh, do I need to, and I was like, no. And I opened it for her. And then he's like, you ladies have a good day. And I'm like, really? Sincerely? Really? I mean, what? So we were late, but it didn't matter because then once we got there, we found out that they were a half hour behind. So then there was an evil woman in the waiting room. always sit in the same spot. There are these like benches that are meant for 2 people. But I take up a little more than half of it, right? Because I'm a little bit wider, you know. So in a pinch, Jared and I can fit on this bench, like the 2 of us, right? Because he's not as wide as I am, right? So like I can squish a little bit, and he's not as wide as I am, so like we can like just fit comfortably, you know what I'm saying, in it. But normally I just sit on it by myself and I put the coats on the other side. Do you see what I'm saying? And nobody minds because there's so much other seating for other people. If you're understanding what I'm saying to you, okay? There are 2 of these benches there. So usually I sit on this particular one. And then there's another one. And so if that one is taken, I sit on the other one. So when we got there, there was somebody sitting on my alternative bench. And then this woman had her jacket and her bag on one side of that bench. And then she was standing in the middle of it, reading a newspaper. There was a woman sitting on the other side, and then somebody sitting in a wheelchair in front of a chair on the other side. And then there was this rocker that I didn't feel comfortable sitting in because I swear to goodness if I sat on it, I would break it. And then there was this other rocker that makes me feel really uncomfortable that I think I would break as well, right? Okay, so that's the scene. So I decided I would stand and put our coats on one of the rockers I think I would break. So they wheel Mom in, and the guy that was sitting on my alternative seating leaves. So I'm like, oh, thank God, I'll have a place to sit. Well, this family that always comes got there before I could go. And it's a girl that's in treatment who's in her 20s, her great-grandmother, and 2 little kids. I understand. They really needed a place to sit. There's a lot of them. They deserved the bench. So I wasn't upset with them for taking that bench. They didn't know that I'd been waiting for a place to sit. I didn't say anything. And I know that the little girl has a medical problem, and her mom's going through treatments, and the great-grandma is a great-grandma. They all needed a place to sit. And the one little girl is like 1 or 2. I wasn't going to deny them a place to sit, right? But this woman has been standing in front of the bench, reading a newspaper, blocking a whole entire bench, refusing to sit, keeping her stuff on it for no reason. She was a thin lady who, by all appearances, had nothing physically wrong with her, who could have sat in the chair that I was afraid I would break. She could have sat in the other rocker. And as people left, because the person that was in the chair, the like wheelchair that was in front of a chair, she left. So then that chair became available. So there were like 3 other places this woman could sit, but she was lording over this bench. So I'm like propped up against the wall, trying not to pass out because I wasn't feeling well. And this woman is like lording over this bench. And she kept giving me dirty looks. But then she's telling these children they're adorable and, oh, their cookies looked so great and wonderful. And she's like being affectionate with these children. But she's giving me dirty looks and lording over the bench, which is the one place that I could have sat. And I just kept thinking, is this my fault because I didn't ask if the other spot that she wasn't sitting in was taken when I first got there? Or is she just mean and hoarding the bench? And after the day that we'd have with the cab driver, and then like mom and I were arguing on our way in because we were both like so upset over the cab driver thing, and like I started to cry in the elevator and mom started to cry in the elevator, and then like mom went in for treatment, and so she had been upset right before her treatment, and then I felt bad that mom was upset before her treatment, so then like I started to cry as mom was in her treatment. So I'm like propped up against the wall crying, going, I just made my mom cry before her treatment, I'm horrible. And then like I'm dealing with this in my head, like, is this my fault that this lady won't move? Like, is she saving it for a patient? Is she the patient? What's going on? Like, I was so confused. And I'm like, do I say something? And like, this one tech that was working in the other, because there are 2 treatment rooms, there's A and B. And there was this, and mom goes into A, right? And there was this girl that was working for B, and I had never seen her before, and she was like so nice. She kept looking at me like, you kind of look like she just gave me this look like, are you gonna pass out on me? Like every time she passed me, just like that look, like, you don't look so great. Like just the look on her face was like, are you gonna pass out? Like every time she walked by, like, you don't look so great. And like my legs started to shake at one point, and this woman is just giving me daggers. Like, do you hate me because I look like I'm gonna pass out? Do you hate me because I'm like leaning against the wall? What is going on with you, lady? And it was really, really bizarre. And it just made the whole day that much worse. And I was just like, today was supposed to be the good day. I felt so much more confident this morning when I woke up. I was like, today was gonna be the good day. Today was gonna be the day that we were putting all of that behind us. Today was supposed to be the day that we were going to have better luck with the cab drivers. Today was going to be the day we were going to have better luck at the hospital. Today was the day that we were going to feel more confident. We were going to feel better in general. We were going to rock today. And then like here I was dealing with this lady. So, long the short of it, mom comes out from her treatment and she's like, have you been standing the whole time? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, why? And I'm like, I'll tell you later. And so then I'm like, but we might sit in the other waiting room. And she's like, the one that's almost by the elevator? And I'm like, yeah, if that's cool with you. And she's like, yeah, sure. So I'm like sitting for like 2 minutes, and then I'm like, okay, we can go. And she's like, are you sure you don't need more time? And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally sure I don't need more time, which was a total lie, but I just didn't want to waste more time. So I was like, I'm good to go. Let's do this. So we get to the elevator, and we got up to the place. We called the cab, and the second cab driver was so amusing. He was so nice, and he made mom laugh, and his name was Frank, which made mom so happy because she was like, my grandpa was named Frank. That's kind of cool. And he was being testy with some of the other drivers, and that made mom laugh. And so like, you know, she perked up a little bit. So that was kind of cool. And he knew the route, and his stuff was up. And the thing that I thought was really cool is that they had fixed the what do you call it? Their system there, you know, with the thing. So it gave us an alert saying like, hey, we're confirming your cab ride, and hey, your cab has arrived. Like I got a text, and I was like, thank you. Yeah, we haven't been forgotten. And like when I called and called it in, it was the same girl that I had called in the morning, and she was like, hey, I took your call in the morning. And I was like, you did? And she was like, oh, we'll have somebody there as soon as possible. And like, she was so happy and whatever. So the second time was so much better than the first time. And this guy actually put the wheelchair in himself. He didn't make me do it, which was awesome. Made my legs feel so much better because, believe it or not, it is a heavy, heavy wheelchair. I don't know if you've ever tried to lift a wheelchair that size, but it is really heavy. And like, if you've walked the maze that is the maze of the hospital that we are in, and like the department that we go to is in the basement, so it's like you walk from the front of the hospital all the way to elevator K and then down the elevator to the basement, and then it's like, hey, check in here, and then walk really, really far to treatment area A, and it's like, once you're done, it's like, I've been through the maze, I've been through the war, I'm so tired, please let me sit. And that's why I love, while she's in treatment, I'm just like so happy to be sitting down, except for today when I couldn't sit down. So that's why I was kind of like, my legs are shaking, I'm gonna pass out, oh my god, I'm gonna die. It did not help that I was super dehydrated before we left the house, which is because of stupid, poor life decisions on my part, which I should have known better, which was my fault, which is a totally different part of this story. But it did work out in the end, and we got wonderful Frank. And Frank was such a gentleman. Let me tell you, Frank, the cab driver, which was our second cab driver of the day, he held the door open for us, called us lovely ladies, and let us go into our hotel. And I can tell you, honestly, we have taken many cabs together, and I have had many cab experiences in this city, and this is probably my favorite city. And it's a major city, and I have never had an experience where a cab driver has taken me to my destination and held the door to my location open for us before. Frank was an older gentleman, so he was kind of a silver fox, if you will. So he was a little bit... Mom, what do you think? Was Frank a silver fox? Yeah. Mom thinks Frank was a silver fox. Mom says he wasn't bad. Maybe Knocker should look out. Mom says no. I don't know. He might have to watch himself. He might have competition. Mom might request Frank again. Who knows? Well, we are, yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Uh-oh, is he calling you now? Yep. And now, he's calling her. Uh-oh, he knows that there is competition. Well, see, now he has to come to my live thing and hear about... Yeah, he got the vibes. All right, I have to go plug this in. See, now he knows that, now you know that you have competition, Knockers. All right, I have to plug this in before it dies. You have competition, Knockers. By Frank. Frank the cab driver. He's the silver fox that tried to woo Mom today. Are you paying attention at all, Knockers? I don't think he is. I think he's in another universe. Twilight Zone. Anyway, so we had an adventure today, and it was kind of rough, and I broke down a little bit, to be honest with you. I totally broke down. I cried a lot. I stress-soda'd, as you've been seeing over there. I stress-soda'd. I didn't bring it with me. It's almost gone anyway. I stress-soda'd, and I'm feeling better now. Yay. But yeah, I broke down and I cried and I had my time. But the thing that I have learned is that sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you just need to break down and cry. Sometimes you need to scream. Sometimes you need to do whatever it is you need to do to let it all out. And then once it's all out, it's gone. It's left you. And you can move forward. And you can be as strong as you need to be, or as tough as you need to be, or as kind-hearted as you need to be. You can be you again. Whatever you are. And maybe you're all of those things at once. And most of us are all of those things at once, and so much more. You know what I mean? You can just be yourself again. You're not just the angry feelings or the hurt feelings or whatever it is that's bubbling out of you at that moment. You can just let all of that go. And it's just good to let that overflow out. And if you don't, it hurts you. Like, it can physically hurt. And it's just so good to let it out. And so I just feel so fortunate that I can let it out. And I feel really, really fortunate because I got a really, really sweet phone call from my boyfriend today. And he, said, if you need to talk about it, you can let it out. And the really weird thing is, I didn't want to talk about it. I really didn't want to talk about it. And I cried anyway. I just kind of cried without explaining anything. I just kind of cried. And I felt better. And doing this live made me feel better. And helping Mom and getting her situated with her dinner made me feel better. And just kind of living life and taking things 1 minute at a time made me feel better. So thank you, everybody, for all of your support and all of your kindness and all of your just being nice to us through everything. And I know that on some of these days we look ragged and we look awful, and sometimes we feel awful and ragged, but let me tell you, this experience is crazy, and cancer is terrible. My experience with cancer was terrible and devastating to me, and I have said this before, and I will say this again. My experience with cancer was very private. A lot of people didn't know that I had cancer. A lot of people still don't know that I had cancer. A lot of people are still very shocked by it, and a lot of people don't understand what my journey was like, because a lot of it wasn't documented, and I never went into great detail about it. In retrospect, it was very physical, but it was a lot of it happened at home. And it was a lot of phone calls to my doctor's office, and the doctor that I had at the time was very hands-off, and I didn't know enough to fire him at that time. And he made me suffer for a long time in ways that I didn't need to be suffering. And so I was told, there's nothing we can do, just basically be in pain and suffer. And so for years, and I'm being honest with you, for years, I suffered, and I went through a lot of pain. And at that time, it wasn't full-blown cancer, it was pre-cancer. So my cancer story and my situation was very emotional, and it was also very physical. But it was very different from Mom's experience, and I was also younger, and so I was dealing with a lot of different things, because I was also dealing with the fear of infertility and the could I be pregnant, could I not be pregnant, am I ever going to be able to be pregnant, am I ever going to be able to have a family? And I was dealing with relationships, being together and not together during all of that, and being with people who wanted children very badly, and being afraid of not being able to provide them with that, and being with people who never wanted to have children, and being afraid of that causing a problem between us because I wanted that, or being afraid that they wouldn't understand that I'm upset about the things that I was going through, and just so many different things happening all at once. And that's not my mom's experience, because one, she's at a different point in her life, and it's a different experience for her. So going through this with mom is very, very different from my experience, in that she was at a different place in her life. She was a different age range, and her cancer has been very different than mine. Mine progressed differently. Mine was more aggressive at certain points, and the solutions that they took were very different. And going through this with mom, I look at mine, although it was very physical and very painful physically, I feel like mine was more painful emotionally than hers. I feel like hers is more physically taxing, and more physically painful, and more physically and emotionally together, entwined. I feel like hers is more overall devastating than mine. I feel like mine was just more emotionally devastating, and I may be just seeing that because I'm living through that, currently, and I'm so far removed from my experience right now, and I'm still dealing with the emotional from mine. And they are so different, but that's just kind of how I'm feeling at this exact minute. And I'm sorry that this light is like white outing half of my face, but I'm charging my phone, and I don't know how far this cord will reach. I don't think it'll reach to the chair over there, so I'm kind of stuck with this lighting situation. But yeah, so it's very difficult, but we are taking it one step at a time. And so far, it's going as the doctors predicted it would go. Maybe a little better than they predicted it would go. For her, it's hell. For me, it's in some ways better than I thought it would be, and in other ways harder than I thought it would be. In some ways I'm glad it's not as hard as I thought it would be, and in other ways I wish it were easier. I wish it were easier for her. I wish it were less painful for her. I wish I could make it better for her, but I think anybody who has a loved one who's dealing with cancer would echo the same sentiments. Thank you so much for all of your love and support, and I am going to log off now because I am tired, and we have a long day tomorrow as well, and I have to get up early to order the cab, and hopefully we will not have the same shenanigans as last time. And then tomorrow is a busy day because in addition to the appointment, we also have the return to Dodgeville, and then deciding whether or not I'm going to return to Madison to the apartment and actually have some time with my boyfriend over the weekend, or whether I'm staying in Dodgeville the weekend. So I don't know what I'm going to do yet. We'll have to see. I think I'm going to request Frank again, because Mom really liked Frank. Frank or Ian. She seemed to like Ian too. I don't know. We'll see. Probably Frank, because she really liked Frank. But we'll see how it rolls. We'll see how it all rolls. So I will see you guys probably sometime over the weekend. I might do another live. I don't know. If not, there will be some sort of update. And see you guys later. It's been a pleasure seeing you, and thank you so much for your love and support. We appreciate it more than you know. Bye, guys.